Good morning.
Good morning.
Still some people streaming in, but why don't we get started? My name is Eric Schumacher Rasmussen. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the program director for Streaming Forum and the editor of Streaming Media magazine and the website. Thanks for joining us at this year's Streaming Forum. We've got a truly pan-European crowd with us. In fact, it's truly international. We've got attendees from 18 different countries who will be with us over the course of the next couple of days. About half are from the UK, as you might guess, but 38% are from mainland Europe and 11% are from North America, with 2% from Asia. So it's a really nice mix of people, and of course, we think we've got a very nice mix of content for you. Sessions covering media and entertainment, corporate video, sport video, and much more in 30 presentations plus keynotes over the next couple of days. Just a few housekeeping notes. Coffee, tea, and lunch will be served across the hall in the sponsor showcase. And you can visit the companies who are sponsoring this year's event. And big thanks to all our sponsors, Cellmux.com, our diamond sponsor, who will be hosting a session and actually presenting a webinar here on Wednesday. Limelight Networks, Mixmove, Broadpeak, Clearleap, Stream UK, Workcast, Bright Cove, CTN Communications, Deutsche Telekom, FluMotion, Interaction, Miss Server, SIS, Unified Streaming, and Nanocosmos. Whew. With that out of the way, I also want to remind you that tonight at 5 p.m. we're going to have a networking reception also across the hall in the sponsor showcase, and we'll be presenting our annual Streaming Media European Reader's Choice Awards there just after 5. I'd also like to thank the show's organizers, Gene Mulligan, Linda Saxton, Kat Allen, and Carolyn Milner for all the help they did setting up and promoting the event. If you have any questions, they can help you with anything. Bill Spence in the back of the room there is the IT guru who can answer any questions except about how to cool it off in here, which is a question that evidently no one can answer. So our apologies. We know it's a little bit warm, but unfortunately it's out of our hands. So let's begin. For our keynote speakers this year, we decided to go with two who we feel are true disruptors in the industry, companies that are shaking up the way content is both delivered and monetized. Now, at the time of last year's Streaming Forum in June 2013, BT Sport had earned the rights to 38 English Premier League games, but had yet to broadcast a single minute of coverage. If you fast forward to spring of 2014, BT Sport now offers 3 sport channels to around 3 million direct customers, and is now set to start delivering all UEFA Champions League and Europa League broadcasts for 3 years, beginning in 2015. We're thrilled to have Jérôme Tassell, who is BT's TV Architecture and Security Director, presenting our first keynote today, talking about Multiscreen BT Sport Delivery 1 year on. Please welcome Jérôme Tassell.
Good morning, and thank you for having me today. I think it's a great conference, great opportunity for everybody to get together, and hopefully you'll find the next hour interesting. I'm going to take you through our journey with BT Sport when we started 2 years ago, when we got the rights, how we got to launch, and what we've done since launch as well. I'll touch a bit on our main TV proposition as well. Obviously, we don't just do sport, so I'll take you through some of the development we've done as well over the past year and launched as well this year. A bit about me, I guess, before we start. So, as introduced, I'm the Director for Architecture and Security. So any new proposition, any new design comes via my team in BT for TV, for the mainstream TV proposition, but also for BT Sport. I've been in BT for 17 years, and as you can imagine, I've seen quite a transformation over the past couple of years in BT with what we've done with BT Sport. I've dabbed in broadband, so I've kind of designed the broadband network as you know it today. I've worked across Europe and Asia on big telco bids as well, and 5 years ago, I decided to join the TV wagon in BT. I designed and launched our multicast network, our CDN, and then a couple of years ago, decided to go full stream into the end-to-end solution for TV and for BT Sport. I'll talk for about 40-45 minutes and take questions at the end, if that's all right. I've got a few videos as well, so hopefully you're not going to just listen to me rambling on for 40 minutes, but you'll enjoy some videos as well. They're very topical. I guess to start, where are we now? So I thought I'd give you a bit of an overview of where we've ended up. This is the Q4 results from BT that came out back in May. So what have we done? So I mean, the main thing is we've launched BT Sport last year, which obviously we didn't have before. We launched it on 9 platforms. I'll explain why 9 later. And we've ended up in a place where we have now got 3 million direct customers for BT Sport and 5 million through wholesale deals. So you can see and use BT Sport on our network or on our application, but you can also get it through Virgin and through Sky. So that's what I call the wholesale deals. And that includes pubs and clubs as well. So this is not just a consumer proposition, but it's pubs and clubs as well. So I guess hands up, who's a BT Sport customer? Okay, I mean there's quite a lot of people who are not from UK and it's all geo-blocked, so you won't be able to see it. But I've got some stuff I can show you later on. And how many of you, do you guys use the app or you use it on the set-top box? On the app, and it's really good, isn't it? Yeah. Apart from just launching BT Sport and having the right to 38 Premiership games, we're also always seeking to get new content. So since launch, we've also got 3 new critical pieces of content. We started the coverage of the World Rally Championship. We started the coverage of MotoGP, and I will go into a bit more detail on what we've done with MotoGP, because it's not just launching a new channel with the races. We've actually done something really innovative with the app, where you can have access to lots of different cameras during the race. You can have access to the Helicam. You can look at the race from the back of some motorbikes, from the front of others. So I'll go through a bit what the experience is like. So quite some innovative services there, which is great. That's what IP enables you to do. And we've extended some of the rights as well for the German Bundesliga. Another thing we've done on BT Sport is we've enabled Chromecast for our BT Sport app. A great little device. I'll go and explain why we've done that and how it works. But a great proposition for customers. So that's the BT Sport side. As far as TV is concerned, we've been in the business since about 2005. Started with a VOD service, and then we added multicast. So we have TVOD, SVOD, multicast. We've now reached 1 million BT TV customers, which is great, the fastest growing service in UK. And as well as adding BT Sport to that lineup, adding the channels to that lineup, we've done a few things as well over the past year. So we've launched our service on Youview. So Youview is our main strategic set-top box provider, and we've launched a new Youview set-top box, which is a lot smaller and a lot faster than the previous one we had before, which again gives a much better customer experience. And we've added more channels. We're about 140 channels now on our Youview service, a mix of Freeview and all IP, so it's a hybrid box. And we've added content from other partners like Sky, for example, so you can be a BT customer and get Sky movies on your Youview set-top box. We've added lots of HD channels, and we've launched a UK first as well, buy to keep, or electronic sell-through, it's known as well, where you're not just streaming an asset when you buy it, but you can actually buy it and keep it forever. I'll go through a bit of that as well. So that's kind of where we got to by the beginning of this year. But if I take you back to the day when BT Sport happened. So this was the news back in 2012 now. So we bought the rights on the 13th of June. We won the rights in 2012 with the right to broadcast from the 1st of August 2013. So it's nearly 2 years since we got the right as of last week, and we've just about been broadcasting for a year now. So this was the news on the day. I was merrily working away at multicast and CD and stuff. And then we all saw the emails, and a lot of us learned it in the same way as the public. It was a very close conversation between a very few set of very exclusive people at the top of the company. I mean, you can imagine this was a industry share price affecting changes. So we all got to find out, and I guess we all got a bit excited, scared, but a really good thing to do for BT. So as you can imagine, it kind of changed my day and a few other days of people as well at BT. First thing I did was cancel my leave for the next 9 months, and quite a few of us did that. And then kind of reality kicked in, and we started to think about, okay, what are we going to have to do here? We've just bought the rights for 3 years, for 38 games a year, Premiership games, and obviously the decision was made because sport is so important in UK. People really put together broadband and sport and their voice package together, and that's really the only way to get broadband customers nowadays in UK. so what went through our heads? So first, if we start from the top here, outside broadcast, we've bought the rights. We're going to have to get the games onto some encoders or tapes, or we're going to have to actually film the game. So that was the first thing that we'd have to think about. Second, we need a studio. We haven't got one. We need a place where we can bring all of this content, have the pundits presenting, have all the presenters, create the programs, and give us an identity. Then we have to do all of the play out to get that into the right spaces. Then we have to look at the encoding and then the origin. If we're going to do this over IP, once we have the content, we need to encode it and make it available over multicast and CDN networks. So that's the next point. We need to then make it available through our multicast network and our CDN. Then the clients, our set-top boxes need to support the new channels. And very early on, we decided as well that one of the big differentiator for BT Sport would be interactivity. So we decided it was time to build an app. So again, another set of clients that we would have to do, build an app for iPhones, for iPads, for Android devices, and for PCs and Mac. There's a quite interesting demographics. Sport is watched a lot more on devices. That's what people like to do. And there's a big gap as well between the set of people who watch sport on PC and Mac versus people who watch entertainment on PC and Mac. So a lot of people like to watch their sport on their actual computer. So again, something important to do. So that would get us to having a channel on multicast and being able to deliver it through a CDN to some sort of client. Then we would have to operationalize the whole lot. How would we monitor? How would we make sure it's available 24/7? We're a broadband company. We're used to sending traffic, but it's kind of broadband peak time, Tuesday evening, Sunday afternoon. This is very different. This is Tuesday evenings, Thursday evenings, Saturday. There'll be games on Sundays sometime. It's a very different ball game that we had to look into. And then volumes. This was due to drive volumes very, very hard in terms of new broadband provision, but also volumes on the different TV platforms, whether it's multicast or our unicast CDN delivery. And finally, just to try and close the loop, all of the back end for TV as well. How are we going to manage all that? So that's kind of what went through our heads. A few of us who were in a meeting talking about something else at the time. The announcement came around, and that's the kind of the first diagram we drew. And that's the second thing we do. How are we going to do all of that in time? We have 12 months before we have to launch. And it's not one of those things where you can launch and you'll have a small volume and then you can learn and then you can build a bit more. This is a launch in August and it's the first Premiership game and everybody's going to be on it. Right? It's not like people are not going to watch it because we're not ready. So quite a different ball game. So that's what we did. So I'll take you through this one in a bit more detail. That's kind of the end-to-end solution for BT Sport. So on the left, you have the venues all around UK, and obviously you have to get all of the content filmed from the venues. Luckily, BT already had a business called Media and Broadcast that did this for Sky. So we already had fibered up all of the football ground, and we had an outside broadcast business, so we could just reuse a lot of that. The studio, we didn't have one, so we had to build one, and I'll go into a bit more detail of how that happened next. But we build a studio, so the content comes from the venues, go to the studio, and BT Tower as well. It happens in 2 places, and the programs are produced there. Hopefully, if you've seen the channel, you've seen the presenters and the environment. It's the biggest studio in Europe. It's got a big tower in the middle. It's got a glass floor, so that when you're watching rugby, you can have a rugby pitch on the floor, and people can explain to you what you're doing. If you're watching football, suddenly the floor becomes a football pitch. So a great state-of-the-art studio. Once it leaves the ICT, so ICT is at the Olympic Park, so we've leased one of the broadcast centers that was used for the Olympics. And then after that, it goes into play-out, and for that, we've reused existing facilities, built some specific elements, but there was no point us building any of that, as people in the industry do that really well, so we reused all of that. And then it goes off into all of the platforms where you can enjoy BT Sport. So if I start by the top, Sky and Virgin, so we send the channels and then they build that into their own propositions. So on Sky, you have to buy the channels through BT as an add-on. With Virgin, it's part of their top tier, I think, if I remember, or if you have their top tier, then you have BT Sport as well. So that's, you know, a broadcast of the channel to them. The next picture is the picture of the app on PCs. So for that, channels get encoded and then delivered over RCDN, and people can use the app to be able to watch that over RCDN on or off net. And it's geo-blocked, so it's only for UK. Then it gets delivered to our set-top box service, which is where BTTV and Youview come in. So I don't know, for you guys who are not from UK, Youview is a consortium in UK where a couple of ISPs, us and TalkTalk, have come together with the public broadcasters, like the BBC, IPTV, and Archiva as well. And together we've created this set-top box and this environment where there's a mass market proposition for the best content from the public broadcasters and the content from the ISP with a very low cost, very attractive and a great customer experience with a backwards EPG and on-demand catch-up from the PSBs. BTTV is our older platform, so we had our set-top box before we had Youview. Started with Media Room and then we built our own. So again, delivering that to those three platforms, and that is being done through multicast. So the channels are multicast delivered to those three set-top box platforms. And finally, we also delivered the channel to Freeview because we really wanted to reach as many people as we could. And all of that, if you were a BT customer and you were a BT broadband customer, then you get the channel for free on the app and on your platform of choice. So those are the 9 platforms, and it's 9 because it's Sky, Virgin, 3 different apps, iOS, Android, and web and PCs. BTTV is Media Room and our own platform we built after that and before Youview, and Freeview. So in 12 months from learning that we won the rights, we delivered this end-to-end solution and launched BT Sport on the 1st of August on 9 platforms. So now if I take you through some of those individual areas in turn, and for some of those I've got some videos, and apologies I've got to switch back and forth, but PowerPoint is being a bit of a pain this morning. Right, so this is just to show you what we do in terms of outside broadcast.
And 40, you can just stay wide, yeah? I'll use you for a graphic. So wait, you did all full focus to me, mate. Camera 10 and 17, yeah, let's screw around, I think, so you're in the tunnel on 10, yeah? 17, there's marking there on 17. Okay, number 12.
So this is the setup for every single game. That's what we have to put in place. Man, there's trucks, there's satellite, all backhaul to ICT. This is what we put in place to be able to film every single game.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jake. They kind of passed an A-level last week, playing with 10 men for over an hour against Norwich City. They did that well, but this is the degree course, isn't it? Manchester's appear, aren't they? Up the bottom of the card.
Okay, and then go graphic out. Put it back in again. Next to the one.
This is all happening in the truck on premise, yeah? We usually start 2 to 3 hours before the game starts. Everybody gets there and gets everything set up.
They have scored in their last 51 home matches.
So that's what we do for outside broadcast. So you don't get anything unless you can film the game, and that's quite a big operation that happens at weekends, and we do this for ourselves, but also, like I said, for Sky and others. So that gets us the content into ICT and the tower. So this is our ICT, so all of you who've been to the Olympics, you probably walked past the building that we then leased to do this. So the work started on the 5th of February, so we got the rights in June, started to build on the 5th of February, and it was ready on the 1st of July. It's pretty fast for the industry, and it's also the biggest studio in Europe. It has 20 edit suites, 10 dressing rooms, 8 voiceover booths, 7 galleries, loads of production desks, and there's actually 3 studios. 1 and 2 are 14,000 square feet. If you get a chance to go, you can go. There's invites to go to the programs. It's really impressive, really, really good fun. And there's another smaller studio, just 2,000 square feet. So it took a while to build this, but I think the result is really impressive. I've got a quick video that shows you all that happened fast-paced. The edit suites. All the bottom half becomes glass, and that's where we can change the floor to whatever sport we're presenting at the time. And the saying goes that the guy who found the glass floor actually found it on eBay and bought it off eBay. Just all the different types of floors. Okay, so that's the build of the production studio. So we've got the outside broadcast business that gets us the channel to the studio. So then the channels are at the studio. We do the presenting, and then they need to be delivered onto our devices. So if I talk about multicast first, so we've multicast enabled our network nationally. So in every city in UK, you can have multicast on the exchange. It's actually a mix of wholesale and open reach. So again, I don't know how much you know about how BT is set up, but we're very unusual. We have a retail arm, we have a wholesale arm, and we have open reach that effectively owns all of the lines to the homes and the exchanges in all the towns. And it's regulated. So we've had to multicast enable the OpenReach network, so any ISP in UK can go and buy multicast from every single exchange and get their own traffic there. We've also created a wholesale product that any ISP can buy, and that is depicted on that picture here. And when you buy multicast from BT Wholesale, you get a head end, and then you know your traffic is going to get multicast to all of the exchanges that are enabled by OpenReach. So that was delivered. It's a 24/7 monitored network with very stringent SLAs. We've got some monitoring kit at the tower. We've got loads of monitoring equipment all the way through the network to look at packet loss, packet delivery. We use InnoQuest actually as a supplier to do that. So once the network was set up, which we did a bit before we had BT Sport, because we had some entertainment channels on our multicast network, we then had to add our 6 BT Sport channel. It's 6 because there's SD and HD for each. And then we needed to multicast enable the set-top boxes, so the Youview set-top box and our own set-top boxes. And finally, we use retransmit, which is a unicast technology, so that if ever there's any packet being lost in the core network or in your home, I think we all know how bad home networks can be. Quite a lot of packet loss between the face placed on the wall, the hub, the set-top box, So there's a retransmit client in the set-top box, so that if you lose a packet, it goes and asks for the missing packet. Well-known technology for multicast. And we use retransmit and not forward error correction. Ideal for broadband, and it's worked really well. We do it over fiber and we do it over copper, and it really delivers a great customer experience. It's also very useful to get stats from what end users are doing, because you get all those requests of packets, so you know when people are watching traffic, when people are watching what channels and what experience they're getting. So that's delivery to the set-top boxes. In terms of the app, that was quite a lot of, quite a big undertaking, and we didn't start the app until March and launched it again in August. Now, I think our app is a great example of reuse and cloud TV, frankly. We built the bare bone of the app and all the user interface and the interaction, but there's a lot of services we cram into the app. So when you go and watch a game on the day, there's a big match center that shows you what's happening on the game, who's going to play, details about who's got the ball when, who passed to who and all that. There's also a lot of information on social interaction between Twitter and Facebook and things like that. And so we did a lot of integration. So what this slide shows you is all the various elements that we've just picked from the web to put into the app. So we use Meta Broadcast and the Press Association for the EPG and for the feeds of information and news. We use APTA for some sport-specific information. We use Aqueduct for the match center, when there's a game, so you can see all the stats of the game. We use Redby again for metadata information. We work off the Accenture AVS backend to do all of the subscribers management, so all of that again in the cloud. And we've used BlazeMeter as well to do a lot of the testing before we launched. And again, that's a cloud service. You just ask it to go and test your backend, and it will just test it until it breaks. So a lot of integration. And again, the reason for doing that is we didn't have long. We only had about 6 months to do the app. So we didn't want to take any risk and build anything ourselves. So we just went and got what was available out there. We wanted to know that it would scale, because we weren't really sure about the numbers. So again, going to the cloud, we knew that we could add capacity on demand if we needed to. Sport is very volatile. It really depends on how well the team is doing, what's happening in the game. You get people joining, leaving, at halftime. If there's a goal, then people shift match. So you really need that flexibility. And obviously speed to market to be able to get there on time. And this is what it looked like, taking all of those components into play. All of that together, this is what it looks like on iOS, Android, and PC and Mac. So the application's been live since the 1st of August. I've got some numbers for you. So after 8 weeks of going live, we had 1 million download of the app, which is pretty good. We were at the top of the download chart for a while. And we peaked at 140,000 unique viewing per day as well when there's a match. So pretty hefty numbers. The majority of views is split between Mac PCs and devices. Again, like I said, people do watch quite a lot of sport on their PC and Mac. And I guess another great thing with the app is we get a lot of logs. We have a lot of analytics on what people are doing, where they go in the app, when they stop, when they come back, what they do, what they watch, when. Stats about their quality of experience, network delivery. We get that through a mix of CDN. And the other thing that's important about the app is it's not just the streaming. So we use Smooth and HLS, but it's as much the login. So if people can't log into the app, they can't watch the content, and people's habits are really bad. Right? You would think. The game is going to start at 3 o'clock. Everybody joins at 3 o'clock. Right? People don't pre-join. They then leave. If the game is bad, they leave halfway through. And then if there's something exciting, they all join again. Then it's halftime. They all leave, and within 5 minutes, everybody's back on again. And the login in the backend is as important as the streaming of the scaling. You really have to scale all that up to make sure people can log in and log out. And if you have errors, if you have problems with your network or with your firewalls or anything else, make sure that you have really good resilience so people can log in. There's nothing worse than them not being able to log in. And you look at the tweets and all of that, you can see what people like and don't like. So that was the app when we launched. Since then, we've now reached 1.5 million download on iOS and 640,000 download on Android. It's pretty close to the industry standard. Usually, it's twice as much on iOS. And like I said, sports users really love using the app on net and off net. And like I said, the login is really important, and we decided to use the BT login. So it's your general account with BT, because that's what people kind of remember the most. And it's been scaled up to be able to handle all of the limits. And we've also put some devices and concurrent streaming control in the backend to match the rights that we have. People, do install the app on many applications, and they do multiple streamings in the same household. So that was the app. Then we obviously needed to do quite a lot of scaling to get this to work. Obviously, multicast, ideal. It doesn't matter if there's 10 users or 5 million, it's just the same. All you have to worry about is the keys. So that worked really well. Unicast, we had to do quite a lot of CDN scaling to be able to match the volume on the sport app, which was a great outcome, a great result. And we also put diversity in our CDN so that if one CDN has got problem with our origin or our encoding, then hopefully the other one is not impacted, and the traffic, the end user experience can still remain, and also for resiliency purposes in case something goes wrong. In terms of systems, we scaled up a lot of our normal IT systems to be able to take up the raft of broadband extra orders that we saw with BT Sport. When it was announced that BT Sport was going to be free, it generated a lot of new broadband orders, and we had to cope with those. The login, again, like I said, to be able to match the sport watching behavior. And really, what we found out is just scale, and then scale some more, and then scale some more again, because the sport behavior is really, really unique to that industry. Support. So once we got all of that into place, so the content arrives at ICT, gets delivered to set-top boxes on the app is working, everything is scaled up. We then need to manage all of that 24/7, 365 days a year. So we have a TV management center at the BT Tower. And obviously the rest of BT already manage the BT estate, whether it's systems or broadband, our backend network. But we decided it was really important to create a sport-specific management center. So the little picture at the top right there is our dedicated BT Sport monitoring center facility at the BT Tower. And what it does, it doesn't replicate what the rest of the business does. There's already people who manage the network and the IT. What it does is it brings together all of the interfaces between all of the different parts that deliver sport in BT. And it goes left to right, just like the picture I showed you at the beginning. So if you're facing all those screens, the left is the outside broadcast, and the right is the set-top boxes and the devices. And so it's really easy for the sport operation guys to see where something is broken. They just look at the screens, and they go from right to left, and then, yeah, that's where the problem is. And then they know who to talk to in BT, whether it's media and broadcast, whether it's outside broadcast, whether it's the core network, whether it's broadband. So it's really the pulse of the sport operation, and it doesn't replicate what BT does. It's just very specific to BT Sport. And it's also got all of the devices, set-top boxes, iOS, Android, Chromecast. It's got all they've got all of that on their desks. And it's constantly monitoring if the service is working, if we can log in, if we can watch the content with alarms popping up if something goes wrong. And there's a lot of routines that have been put in place, pre-game, post-game, to make sure everything's working as it should be. And I guess one of the other big thing is the whole change philosophy in BT is to change from doing TV and broadband to doing TV, broadband, and sport. So everybody thinks in a very different way now. We can't do planned in during work on on a Friday evening, on a Saturday, on the Tuesday evening. There are games now, so there's a lot more alignment between the sport schedule and how we can make changes. Again, a big change for the company. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, the work we had to do to get this ready end to end by the 1st of August. And on the 1st of August, at I think it was 7 o'clock, this is what everybody saw on those 9 platforms.
One year ago, this place was the focus of the planet as the Olympic Park throbbed to the beat of the best in the world. And from tonight, the sporting legacy lives on. Welcome to our new home.
So this is Jake Humphries, he's our sport anchor for the channel.
The time is now, and now's the time.
To embrace the magnificent.
Would you believe that?
The spectacular.
The sublime.
Oh, yes!
Fantasy flirts with wide-eyed expectation.
Through agony.
Would you believe it?
And ecstasy.
Joy and exhilaration.
Just staggering!
Heart-stopping.
Long-filling.
Rapturous and real.
Stunning piece of work.
Those edge-of-seat moments.
On those thrilling fields.
Elation. Frustration.
Devotion. Dedication.
Dominance. Prominence.
Clenched fist celebration.
The elegant.
The graceful.
The ridiculous, the thrilling.
The emotional entanglement.
The big shoes that need filling. The bravery, the pride.
The passion and the fury.
The glorious victories.
The judges and the jury.
The cool
And the clinical.
The perennial game changer. Young guns.
Old heads and the mighty rearranger.
The time is now, and now is the time.
What about that?
To embrace the magnificent.
The spectacular.
The sublime.
Fantasy flirts with wide-eyed expectation.
Agony and ecstasy.
joy and exhilaration.
An unbelievable finish! Who is writing this stuff?
What more can you say?
So that was it. That was the opening sequence on I think, I can't remember the exact day. I was lucky enough to be in the studio, and it was really amazing for everybody. You know, loads of work went in, loads of unknown, but we all go through it, and I think the outcome really talks for itself. So that was launch. That was August last year. Nearly a year on, what's happened? So one of the big thing we've done is, so we got the MotoGP rights, and I don't know if you noticed as well, but we've got the cage fighting rights as well. Quite interesting. I haven't watched it yet. So we got the MotoGP rights, and for that we decided to do something a bit different. We didn't want just to show the MotoGP on the channel. We decided to go interactive. So we looked at building multiple angle cameras to the experience. So we built that into the app. So when you're using the app now and you watch MotoGP, you have a selection of cameras you can choose from the Helicam, from the race camera, from cameras at the back of bikes, at the front of bikes, and you can really choose how you want to experience the race. And a lot of people are using it. A lot of people are using it as a companion solution to their main screen as well. So they watch the main camera on their main screen, and they use the app to watch the other angles on their second screen. I'll just do a very quick few seconds on what that looks like, so you get an idea. Okay, so you launch the app, then you can watch the main channel, and then you get all of those little dots at the bottom indicating that there's more cameras you can watch.
It's focus,
So you get the different
on the man in front.
camera angles.
If you make a mistake, he'll be another yard ahead of you.
Can
Make
choose the
another
one you
mistake,
want to watch.
he's 2 yards ahead of you. That's what I say about the
This is all unicast delivery from Dorma in Spain. They do all of the delivery of the streams, and then on the app you can choose what you want to watch in small screen, or you can obviously zoom it into the big screen on your iPad. And it's very quick, I have to say. I was very pleasantly surprised. The channel change is very quick when you want to go and change camera. And that beauty of ABR again, you can start with a small bit rate and get it to work, and then it will find a stable higher rate. It's very well received by all the MotoGP fans. So that's one of the big innovation. Again, something you can only do if you've got an IP network, obviously, which is great for us. The next thing we did was Chromecast. So Chromecast was due to be launched on the 1st of April in UK, and we decided that was a really good idea for us to work with Google on this. And as far as I'm concerned, Chromecast is a great little device. It's a real market disruptor. At less than £30, it's brilliant. I remember being in a curry store, and they said, "Oh, we've just sold 10,000 of those this morning." Amazing. And apparently in UK we sold about 100,000 of those in the first 2 months of launch. So it's great because it turns any TV into a smart TV. And it really allows you to use your device as a real searching device, like you can't do it on the TV using your fingers, and you can have a lot more information. And then you can still expand the video on the main screen. And keep your second screen as well to do whatever you want. I still love it when I put the channel on for my kids, and then I can take my phone, put it on the bike, and go for a bike ride. And it just carries on streaming to the TV. That's really brilliant experience. It's Wi-Fi. It's not brilliant because it's Wi-Fi. Again, ABR helps. Most of the cases it's worked for people. It was the first generation. I'm sure future generations will have even better Wi-Fi. I'm sure we'll do things on our hub as well to make that work even better. And I have to say, provision is amazing as well. When you think about what it takes to provision a broadband service, a TV service with a set-top box, you have to send it, you have to wire it. It's so easy, right? You plug it into the TV, find your network, click a couple of buttons, and you've got a full-fledged, full-screen TV experience from your second device. So very pleased with that. So that's how it works on our app. You select Watch Live at the top. You can then select which Chromecast device you want to use in case you have more than one. Some people do. Some people have eight rooms in the house, and they have 8 Chromecast devices. And then you press play, and then whatever you select to play goes off to the TV. So again, great innovation. So that's kind of BT Sport. So we launched, and we added some innovation to the platform. If we go back to our main TV product, a couple of things we did this year as well in parallel to launching BT Sport and adding stuff to BT Sport. One is called EST, so electronic sell-through, also known as buy to keep. And what that is if you can buy content rather than rent it, you have access to it in a different window. So it's pre-box office, it's pre-Netflix, it's pre-Amazon, etc. It's the earliest window at which you can get content. It's like when you buy a DVD in the store. So that's been very well received by consumers. They love accessing content early on, and then they get to keep it. So whenever they go back to their set-top box, they can go and watch the content. It's theirs, and it's there forever. It was mainly some UI development and some backend. So it's all in the cloud. So your rights are all stored in our backend. Again, great example of cloud computing. Last little video. Just to show you how that looks. Oops. There you go. So this is what the end user experience looks like. Well, we don't want sound on that one. So you select your video, and when it says to own, it means you can buy it and keep it. Takes you to a different area, and then you can look at the terms and conditions. You press the click button, you've bought it, your rights, your assets, what you've done is recorded in the back end, and then it plays. And then if you go back, you can play it again as many times as you want. You've probably seen that on Google Play, you've probably seen this on other device services, but it's the first time it was done on a set-top box and in UK. The other bit of innovation we've done on our main TV platform is launch our second generation Youview set-top box. So it's a smaller box. I haven't got one with me, but it's about that big. And it's got a higher spec processor and a smaller hard drive, which is what we needed to make it a bit smaller. It's exactly the same middleware as the rest of the Youview set-top boxes. It's the same common offering, but it's much more responsive and it delivers a better customer experience, which again our customers really love. So we did all of this, and then we kind of did it again. We went and bought, this time, exclusive rights to the Champions League, to European League football. So that's 350 games every season over a 3-4 weeks window. So now we're back into square one where we started. I mean, this time we have a platform, we know how to do channels, we've got an app. And so, we're in the middle of working to get all of this working for next summer now, when the rights start. And there's a few more on our plans here. Like I said, BT Sport is free with broadband that stays on for next year. We're building the addition of the content, and on our IPTV proposition, we are going to add more content from more partners again. We've re-signed with Youview for 5 years, and we have more control of the roadmap for what we need to do on the set-top box. We're working on multi-room. In fact, we launched that 3 weeks ago. The slide is out of date. That's now launched, so you can buy an extra box from BT now and have BT TV in multiple rooms. We're going to build another entry-level Youview box, again to try and reduce the acquisition cost. And we're working on connected red button as well on the Youview service. And finally, when I talked about the older generation TV service we have, the media room and the like, we're going to shut that down as well. I think I'll leave it there. There's a few thoughts that I could go into, but I think in the interest of time, I'll probably leave it there and open for questions, I think.
Any questions for Jérôme?
Yeah.
Doug Burbage from UK.
Hi.
What's the DRM technology?
So on multicast, we use Nagra and we use Marlin. And then we did a UK, a world. I think on IP it was a world first where we did simulcrypt. So we actually simulcrypt the channels with 2 DRMs, but only one channel being delivered through the network. And it's play ready HS with for the end.
Short talk to streaming media. Jérôme, is it already clear that the BT Sport is a commercial success in terms of break-even and return on investment?
Absolutely. I think, as we've seen through our results, our churn has really reduced a lot, and we've seen massive new acquisitions in our BT TV and our broadband numbers. A lot of that due to sports. That's what people want. They want to buy sport and broadband and TV together, and it's being shown in our numbers. Retail is in the green for the first time in quite a few years. So really, yeah, great results. And that's why we're buying some more.
Hello, James Wardle, clearly. With the live clips onto your OTT applications,
yeah.
How do you minimise the latency and get that as quick as you do?
We get it as quick as we can, but there is a gap, absolutely. It's seconds gap between the live channel and what you can do on the app. There's only so much you can do. If there's vendors who've got solutions to minimize that, then email me, absolutely. But there'll always be a gap when you're doing transcoding and packaging for unicast. It will always be like that. Maybe we should add latency to the multicast service so it doesn't look so bad.
Well, all right, thank you very much, Jérôme. We will take a break now in the sponsor showcase. Please join us across the hall. Introduce yourself to our sponsors. There's coffee and tea. The breakout sessions will begin at 10:30. So we will ask that everyone clear out of this room because we're going to partition it off into the 3 rooms for the breakouts. And they'll be labeled on the outside of the doors. Thanks again, Jérôme.